Hello, my beautiful rebels and questioners of authority. I have continued in this last week to really kind of go deep into myself and into the energies that we've been presented with that are here and rising and supporting us. And oh, this week, this week we are closing out July, and July's theme was You Are Whole. So, kind of this realization, this coming to recognizing your wholeness, your absoluteness, your power. And starting to embody that so that your body and your mind can also begin to experience that wholeness and to heal and have that wholeness. And it's it's been one hell of a month, y'all. And every week that I write these weekly updates on the blog or share these in the video, like the one I'm making right now, when I talk about supportive practices, it seems to keep coming more and more and more back to meditation, meditation, meditation. And I don't care how you do it, but you need to start that meditation practice. If you have one already, make sure you're not slacking on it. Maybe see if you can dedicate a little more time to it right now and for the foreseeable future. Whew. I cannot seem to emphasize enough how important and vital establishing, growing a meditation practice is right now. This is not something that's going away. So if you don't have one already, that's okay. Now is the time to start. Even if you start with just 5 minutes, start. Even if you fall asleep every single time that you try to meditate, start. Keep doing it. Keep showing up. You might find that it's not actually sleep you're falling into. It might just be that the energy is so intense for where you're at right now that your mind literally shuts down and gets out of the way so that your soul can work inside of you. That is especially true if you're meditating during the day and not like lying down in bed at night before you go to sleep. And especially true if you're doing a guided meditation and you wake up as the meditation concludes. All right, so this week's energy. I have three things to share, I guess. First one is a card, and it's the snake from the Animal Spirit Oracle deck by Kim Krantz. So the snake, that beautiful earth element. The snake is that representation of our untapped magic and potential, of our untapped power, that Shakti life force that lives within us. You think in the Kundalini yoga tradition and in other spiritual traditions, uh, the snake, a coiled snake symbolized sitting kind of down right at the root chakra. I know my microphone, the camera can't let you see, but right down at the root chakra, you can imagine this coiled, resting snake. Your Shakti, your life force energy, your chi. And it's there to start waking up, to start uncoiling, and to start rising up that central column of energy, your spinal column, physically and energetically, that chakric column that aligns with your spine, all the way up to awaken your potential, your creativity, your power, the truth of who you are. This week is an awakening. It's here, it's ready for you, it's waiting for you. And every one of us is going to experience this awakening in a different way. If you're watching this video or if you've read the blog and have come to the video, oh man, you've been through an awakening already. Otherwise, this kind of stuff means nothing to you, has no appeal to you, right? It doesn't ring true. It probably rings super weird. All right. But if you're here, you've had at least one awakening. You've recognized that there's something beyond what the world wants you to believe there is. There's something beyond even what organized religion wants you to believe there is. There's more, there's expansion. There's a direct connection between you and the divine that's asking for you to connect with it. And there's nothing or no one in between you and the divine, between you and God, despite what anyone or anything else wants you to believe. And you don't have just one awakening on this spiritual life journey. You have multiple awakenings. It's, I would say, how can I describe this? And this is kind of my own personal experience and opinion in here. So I just want to put that disclaimer out there because if you've heard something from someone else that rings more true for you, then roll with it. But for me, awakenings are kind of like the next big leveling up, if you will, where you might have like between where you're at now and the next big leveling up, there's this space and you're learning and you're growing and you're having revelations and realizations and like cool experiences and all of that. But then you get to the proverbial ceiling here before you get to the next level. And it's almost like you have to push through this ceiling, this wall, this membrane. There's going to be something that maybe this space in here was relatively easy to move through, and you're going to get to something, and you're going to get to this point where like you plateaued, you feel stuck or something, and it's time, and like it's like you can see through to the other side, but you just can't access it. And that's where you need the impetus for the awakening. The energy has to be right. You have to be truly ready to move through that membrane to the next level. And sometimes that means getting help, getting support. And maybe that means plant medicine. Maybe that means a coaching session. Maybe that means um, working with a trusted spiritual teacher or advisor, or or maybe you have a friend that can help, or it's time for a spiritual retreat, or you have a certain thing that you do that helps, block out all other distractions and gets you right into the thick of it. Because that membrane, that thing there, that that's gonna be something from your ego, from your mind. You're gonna come up against something that feels like if you break through it, you're gonna lose a part of yourself, or or a part of you is gonna die, or maybe all of you is gonna die. I mean, I don't know how it might feel for you. It might feel a little different. And the words we might use to describe that block that's really coming from our egos is is gonna show up. All right. And mm, and it's gonna be important to work through it. And I'm actually gonna go out of order from what I did in the blog. Um, and share the next one. So I felt called to work with runes today. So these Nordic runes. And so this is, um, oh man, what's it called? I'm kind of newer in the runes thing. So give me a second to pull up the name of this one. Um, Thurazaz. Thurazaz. So it's meant to look kind of like a hammer. Um, it also translates into thorn. So you can even think of it as, let's see, like a thorn on a stem there. And this, hmm, when we're coming into this awakening, we're hitting that wall. We're getting to that point where hmm, we gotta get past some deeply held belief or deeply entrenched trauma or, you know, something. It's going to be different for every single one of us. The that rune, that thorn, the thurazaz, and I'm very likely mispronouncing it. So apologies to any of you Nordic rune buffs who know all of it and are really into it. But this shows up as a protector and also a bit of a warning. So sometimes the warning is protective, and the warning is really letting you know to not get distracted, to not turn back, to not mm, go back to sleep, to be really present, to be really aware, to be really in the now, right now. This awakening is requiring your consciousness, your awareness, your entire being, your entire presence. And you're going to encounter some thorny situations or feelings or memories or whatever it is, whatever that barrier is, that membrane, that wall, that ceiling, whatever that is that's between you where you're at right now and where you'll be after your awakening, that's gonna feel thorny. And something that the book said that really like triggered this thing for me was how you know what, let me read it. This rune may also represent a test because it may only be by grasping the nettle that progress can be achieved. And if you're not much into herbs or plants or know anything about nettles, then that probably makes zero sense to you. So let me explain a little bit. Nettles, you might have heard of stinging nettles. These are a plant that has a lot of medicinal properties, but some of the main properties are it's fantastic for reducing inflammation and pain, especially associated with arthritis or swollen joints. And this plant, along its stem and its leaves, has these tiny hairs or thorns that when your skin comes into contact with them, it gives your skin the stinging sensation. And the stinging sensation lasts for quite a while. Um, I have stinging nettle in my yard. I harvest it for my own use. Um, and every once in a while, I'm not as careful as I thought I was, and I'll have come into contact with some of it with my bare skin while I'm, cutting it and before it's dried. Once it's dried, the sting pretty much goes away. And it's just like I think I brushed a knuckle along it a few weeks ago when I was working with fresh nettle, and that knuckle, like the stinging sensation lasted hours. And it wasn't horrible, but it was noticeable for hours. And why I'm sharing that is because this rune warning you to stay present with the discomfort, with the thorns, to, grasping that nettle. There are indigenous peoples that will cut nettles and use the stems and the leaves and like like gently whip the swollen joints and painful areas of their body with the stinging nettle to elicit that sting, to provide that anti-inflammatory medicine directly to those inflamed joints, those inflamed parts of their body. And it helps reduce pain by reducing inflammation, even while it's causing this stinging, painful sensation. That's why grasping the nettle, confronting that painful thing, that deeply uncomfortable thing might be exactly what you need to break through that membrane to the other side. So please be sure to heed that. For me, I experienced this um, last week, earlier this week, yesterday. I don't know. Oh my. Time, time is really weird for me. But I was working with this energy, knowing that I had reached my spot and I had booked a session with my own coach because so often when we get to this point, we need that help, that support to break through. We need that supporting witness, almost, if you will, to help with that. And so this session with my coach really helped me tap into this potential, this Shakti, and to get into the pain that I was still holding and my 13-year-old inner child really came forth asking to be heard and integrated. And I think that pairs beautifully because the third thing, the second rune, the final thing that was used in the reading today is, let's see, is Ansur, 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 um, which translates to mouth and is meant to represent wisdom. And when I really sat with that and with the energy, I just kept hearing out of the mouth of babes, out of the mouth of babes, out of the mouth of babes. And while my 13-year-old inner child isn't necessarily a baby anymore, still a child, and she was the one that really helped me break through, give me the wisdom and the energy, the support, the power to get through that membrane, to come into that awakening. And I looked up where that comes from, and it comes that out of the mouth of babes, where that comes from. And it comes from Psalm 8, verse 2, and the New King James Version. Uh, the entire verse says, out of the mouth of babes and nursing infants, you have ordained strength because of your enemies, that you may silence the enemy and the avenger. And for me, that really comes back to that enemy and avengers, that whatever makes up that membrane, whatever is trapping us from that next level. And it's likely going to be a combination of external influences and deeply held, outdated internal beliefs that were installed in you, programmed into you as a child, um, to be protective and to be supportive and helpful. And they're there to protect you, but now they're working with outdated information. Now they're protecting you from yourself, and you are not a danger. In fact, it's become overprotective. Think of these programs as like all of those sci-fi movies where AI becomes sentient and wants to protect humanity from itself. Um, and it becomes super restrictive and not at all helpful and in fact harmful to humanity in its efforts to protect you. That's kind of what you're working with inside yourself. That what I've called the toddler brain, the ego, your mind, these beliefs and programs and influences that you are and aren't aware of that are holding you back from really allowing that Shakti, that snake, that untapped magic and potential to rise and to consume you in the most delicious, beautiful, healthy, wholesome way. So, hmm, that's that's where we're at. That's where we're at this week. I started out giving you the supportive practice, meditation. I will say that meditation, Kundalini yoga, and booking that session with my own coach has been instrumental in helping me move past that. Journaling also, and allowing it to be kind of a more free flow, automatic writing kind of experience. Those have been deeply supportive for me in this awakening, and this energy and embodying my wholeness to a greater degree. So I will encourage you, start or rededicate yourself to your meditation practice. If it seems like that feels like the right move for you, do some Kundalini yoga. I highly suggest that if you aren't um, already experienced with Kundalini yoga, that you work with a Kundalini yoga teacher who can safely guide you through these practices. We're not trying to force an awakening. There's awakenings that you're ready. There's the one that you're ready for. There's the next one and the next one and the next one. We're not trying to shoot through so many that we completely break your psyche. That's not what's being asked. That's not what's being offered. And sometimes Kundalini yoga is used in unsafe, irresponsible ways to push through and have multiple at one time, and you're not ready for that. So, experienced and safe practitioner, if you choose to do the Kundalini yoga, all right. And try journaling. Journaling is a fantastic way, especially if you're able to do a flow state kind of journaling, an automatic writing kind of journaling. And then book a session with a coach, book a session with me. I use somatic Kundalini guided meditation, intuitive practices to coach and teach based on where exactly you are and what exactly you need. And we tap into these energies together. So if you don't already have a coach, I'm here. I can do one-off sessions, and I also offer packages if you feel that the time is right for uh, a longer term support. And then finally, my online community, Embodied. It's literally there to support you in the spiritual journey, in this awakening, in a community setting. It holds you energetically in this community, and we go deeper and deeper into the energies each week, each month than I do on the blog posts or in these videos. And it is now completely free to join. Completely free. There's 32 live calls recorded and up in the video library. And there are other videos, um, including some yoga practices, some Kundalini yoga practices, some guided meditations. I have somatic practices. There's so much in there that if you want support, and you're not sure what level of support you need, it would be silly to not access something for free. And I really do mean that. This is not one of those free communities where the resources are like they get you halfway there and nothing else. This is meant to be a true resource to help fill gaps that you have in that spiritual community, in that spiritual journey, and to help you establish meditation practice and habits. And so, um, again, it's completely free. So there's no risk to joining. And you can attend live calls or never attend live calls and just access what's in the libraries. But that is it for now. I love you all. I will see you in August. I'm excited to share August's monthly theme and its first weekly energy updates next week. Much love, y'all.